All right, today I want to talk about how to copywrite high converting emails for your Shopify store. After 3 years of trial and error, here's the system that we found works best. My name is Zach Schiffer. I'm the founder of ZHS Ecom, which is an agency that's helped more than a dozen D2C brands add 50K or more to their monthly revenue by leveraging email and SMS, newsletters, and automations. We help this brand add 58K to their monthly revenue. We help this brand add 43% to their monthly revenue. We help this brand add 57K to their monthly revenue. And we have a whole lot more case studies, testimonials, reviews, and all the further details if you want to work together. Check out zhs-ecom.com for more information and the rest of all this stuff. So for context, this video is going to be about how we run our copywriting system at our agency and everything copywriting related. It's going to be perfectly applicable if you're running a brand, if you're running an agency, or if you're a copywriting freelancer. Most of our clients, they use Klaviyo for email marketing, but these lessons are going to apply to any ESP. So in this video, we're going to talk about research, the fact that our copywriters are not just copywriters, they also take on a way different role. Deliverables that we have for our copywriters, there's going to be 3 of them. Then we're going to have 3 different templates for the content calendar, email design itself, how that should look like, what the structure should look like, and then how we structure our Google Docs where you actually write the copy. Then we're going to go over the golden rule, which I highlight so much to all our copywriters. Going to go over the ideal mix of value versus sales within your copy. We'll go over discount strategy, subject lines and preview text, variables or merge tags within your copy, the fact that copywriting is just as visual as design is visual, social proof, urgency, and the number one mistake that I see from copywriters, even the best ones. So make sure to stick around until the end. So copywriting is all about research ahead of time. So we have an extremely in-depth onboarding process at our agency, which really helps us understand our customers even better than they know themselves. I have a link to our entire onboarding process with every single question that I ask. It's a super long document, and as you can see, it really goes into all these different questions, copy and design preferences, questions about their target markets, discount strategy, assets, brand book, guidelines, website setup, access to their Klaviyo, all the potential next steps, all this good stuff is within this copywriting document, which is this link right here. And the entire document will be linked in the description of this YouTube video. So with our onboarding process, there's no forms to fill out. Everything's on a call, which is very different than how a lot of people do things. A lot of people try to automate this and really try to do all these automations and things like that. We like to have as much time face-to-face with the client because nobody likes to type out and fill out a bunch of stuff. So we record the meeting using Read AI so we can really go as in-depth as possible and really dive deep and really understand the target market, discount strategy, copywriting strategy, design strategy, all that good stuff. We have 10 different questions that we go through just for the target markets. And we take all this information and we have a personal Airtable page for each client that we can continually refer back to. And we can update that as we know more about what works and what doesn't and what the client's personal preferences are. Everything's personalized to that specific client so we can improve things and iterate on and improve them over time. So our copywriters are also email strategists, very different than how typical copywriters are. They're not just writing words in a document, they're in charge of email strategy as a whole. So really right now, here's what happens is right now you have an email strategist and a typical copywriter. They're 2 different people. Typically the email strategist, it's not actually like an email strategist, that's not an actual role most of the time. Usually it's a CMO, it's a marketing manager if you're a brand, or it's the agency owner doing the strategy, or it's the account manager doing all the strategy. Point is, it's someone different than the actual copywriter. Usually, they do understand email and SMS strategy as a whole. They don't write the copy though. They don't understand the brand voice as well as someone who's the actual copywriter. They don't practice the implementation. They don't have feedback loops. They have great ideas, but they lack practicality a lot of times. And they have to communicate their vague ideas to the copywriter. So there's a communication gap. A copywriter typically is just writing words in the Google Doc. They don't understand email and SMS strategy. They don't understand retention marketing strategy, flows, campaigns, promotion strategy, all that good stuff. They're not as familiar with. They have to figure out how to turn this strategist ideas into reality. They understand the brand voice because they get a lot more practice and a lot more feedback loops. So that's usually pretty good, but they don't work with the designers directly, and they don't make sure their ideas are implemented correctly, and they don't fully build out each email within their copy. They just have words, but they don't really give the copy or the designer the idea of what the end product should look like. So they don't really suggest ideas. They don't suggest inspiration. They don't really go above just writing the words. So it leads to a lot of issues here, a lot of miscommunication and things like that. So that's why copywriters at ZHS Ecom, it's the best of both worlds. They understand email marketing strategy holistically. They understand retention, flows, campaigns, promotion strategy, all that good stuff. They brainstorm the ideas, so they build out the content calendar. They work with the decision makers at the brand or whoever's working with the brand. They work with them to get the content calendar approved, and they also work with them to write the copy, get the copy approved, so there's immediate feedback, and they're really working with the designers as well afterwards to make sure their ideas are implemented correctly. So again, they're a lot more involved with this entire process. Why do we give copywriters so much responsibility? Nowadays, copy is super easy to write. Let's face it. We have ChatGPT, we have Grammarly, we have Hemingway, and so many more tools. Not that we're writing AI copy here, because obviously AI copy looks like it's written by AI. It's very bad. However, we are absolutely using it to get a good baseline, to do research, speed up the process, and take what we already have and suggest new ideas and ways to improve. So AI helps us go part of the way, and the human end really helps take it that last step. So most e-com brands also don't require an expert copywriter. They don't require David Ogilvy writing their copy. Most brands can get great results with short and sweet emails. Maybe if you're a certain supplement brand or someone who really needs to dive into the pain points, sure, okay, you can have long form copy, things like that. That's fine, but most brands, that's not necessary, especially for very design heavy aesthetic brands like furniture and jewelry and stuff like that, where you want to look at the products. So instead, overall account strategy and structure is much more important. It's a lot more important to look at when are people receiving emails, how are they being triggered, how many emails are we sending within each promotion, how is the flow structured, how are we iterating and split testing the data. That's a lot more important than being a magnificent world-class copywriter. Instead, we also, number 3 here, we want to make sure that we're taking as much off the plate of the designers as possible, because right now, design, there's not as much we can do with automations and AI and all that good stuff. It's about 5 times more labor intensive. We still want to give designers creative freedom, but again, we want to take as much as we can off their plate. So we want to provide suggestions, so it's a lot easier for them to bang out designs, because we can't have one designer spending 3 hours per email. We want to provide as many suggestions as possible, but it's kind of a balance between the copywriter and the designer. Again, at the end of the day, the designers have creative freedom, but we don't want them taking forever to create one email design. So as a copywriter, you need to understand the bigger picture of things. When you're writing a flow, again, you need to understand how that flow itself fits within the customer journey, and how that email within the flow fits every other email within the flow. If you're writing a campaign, you need to understand how this email relates to every other recent campaign that you've written. As a copywriter, you absolutely need to be directly communicating with the designer. So that means giving instructions, adding comments like this in here, ensuring details like which text needs to be prominent, CTA buttons, how the footer should look, what the icon should look like. Make sure all these details are clear on your end. You want to suggest images and inspiration. Now here's the thing, you don't want to put in all the images. The designer still has freedom to do that, but you want the designer to understand the structure of the email ahead of time. That way they don't have to spend all day on these emails. You also don't want to suggest images that don't exist. We've had this issue in the past, so that's why I'm putting it in here. It wastes a lot of time. Don't say, hey, it'd be great if we had this image. A lot of times the designer is going to spend 30 minutes looking for this image to realize it doesn't exist. So it wastes a lot of time. Ideally, you're doing more of the image research and giving them a few suggestions that they can kind of pick off of. But again, it's kind of a team effort here. Also, you want to make sure to reach out to other team members for input. So whether it's the account manager, it's the client, it's the founder, reach out to that person on Slack. Copywriter deliverables, really, there's 3 things that copywriters are in charge of: content calendars, campaigns, and flows. And again, going with the strategy theme here, we want the copywriters to look at and design a structure like this. This is like a 4-day sales structure where you have an email, an SMS, email, then SMS over 4 days. So we want to make sure that you're designing this structure as well, not just writing the copy for this. So you're looking at when it makes sense to send an email, when it makes sense to send an SMS, what time of the day, all this more strategy things you're in charge of. Use this template for your content calendar. So I have a template down here, which I'll explain in a second, but basically one very important note is that you need to describe the emails as best you can before you write the copy. So you really need this content calendar to be detailed. We've had so many issues in the past where a client wants to swap out the products or change the discount, which absolutely screws up the process, takes a ton of extra time with revisions, and it's easily mitigated by having an extremely detailed content calendar. So you specifically need to say in your content calendar which products we're featuring within the email, not just which collections, like the exact SKUs. And same thing with the discount. It's going to really mess things up if you're swapping out products and discounts all the time. It is a massive bottleneck, super annoying, and you need to make sure to clear that up with the client. And so this is our email calendar template. Basically, I have a bunch of different columns here. We have our entire month. This is like in August, we have the approximate send date and time. In this column, we have the name of the campaign, description. We have, if there's an offer, we can easily see which emails have an offer so that you can have a nice blend of offers versus, sales versus value. You want to know the goal of the email. And then here, again, products featured, not collections, not just like we'll throw in some products. You really need to nail this down or else you're going to be swapping out products all day long. And then we have backup ideas down here. And the good thing about this is it's in Google Sheets, so you can clearly move things around, change the structure. If you need to move things back, no worries. Again, extremely specific on which products you're featuring and what the offer is. I can't stress this enough. Don't just wing it. Simplicity is key. Start with this email template. So as the copywriter, this is how you want to structure your emails. This is what it should look like from a design perspective. Basically, you want to optimize the first fold where you have the logo, the header text and offer, subheader, image, and CTA all within the first fold. Again, we keep things very short and sweet. We have a pretty short, simple body text. Sure, you can add some more images and you could add an extra section here and there, but generally, especially the first fold here, just start with this template and go from there. Why does it work? There's one main goal or CTA per email. We don't want a bunch of CTAs and links that overwhelm and drive people to all different areas. One goal of the email, it's short. People just skim it. Don't need essays. Again, we're not David Ogilvy here. It shows the offer early. If they want more info, they can scroll down, but they should be able to click on this CTA button and have pretty much the full context. They should have a majority of, if you're giving a 20% off discount, you have to mention it at the top here. You want to assume that nobody's going to ever scroll down and they should be able to click the button after hearing what the heck the email is about. Now, our Google Doc template, this is the template that copywriters should start out with. Here's how it looks. At the top here, we have the name of the client. Then we have the name of the email. Again, that should be pretty short and it should clearly include the offer and discount. The goal of the email could be drive sales, awareness, brand story, whatever. Subject line, preview text. Only want to put this within the Google Doc here. And specifically here, you can see we have the merge tag, first name, default friend, with the title thing there. You want to make sure to include that. Don't just you need to put the actual one that they're literally going to copy and paste into your ESP. Make sure it's correct. And then preview text that's going to be down there. We have design inspiration. And then as you can see here, we clearly label the first fold and the email body. And so we have this entire setup where we have the headline, image, CTA, all that good stuff. And then the body of the email. So it's very clear to see how this email is going to be designed. And what we do here is we put all flow emails into one Google Doc, but then one campaign email equals one Google Doc. We've done so many different variations of this, and this is what works best. Just trust me, when you have different tasks within your project management system, this is just how it works best. You approve one flow at a time and one email campaign at a time. Otherwise, it gets really messy. Now, optimizing the first fold, that's the golden rule of email marketing. The first fold of your email is your headline. Speaking of David here, when you have written your headline, you've spent 80 cents out of your dollar, of your advertising dollar here. So 80% of your effort really should just go into that first fold of the email. You absolutely need to optimize it because you need to assume people are not going to scroll down. People don't have time. They don't care. They just want to see, they just want to open their email, click the button. And if they don't have enough information to click the button, they're not going to. So this is how it's going to look here. Again, offer, CTA, hero image, all should be within the first fold. This is an example of a perfectly optimized first fold. And again, here, you don't need to do this for every single email. Again, you can break the rule a little bit, but at least 80% of your emails should have some sort of structure like this or the one I previously mentioned. Also, if you're not familiar, the first fold is just this top part of the email that the readers see without having to scroll down. So, mixing value versus sales. Look, basically, frequent discounts are going to boost sales in the short term, but also it erodes customer loyalty, hurts your brand image, attracts the most price-sensitive buyers, makes your product seem lower quality, a bunch of stuff that we don't want to get into. So instead of offering discounts all the time, we need a couple approaches here. 4-to-1 ratio, value, 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 then sell. So what we like to do is also have 1 to 2 sales per month. We prefer small flash sales versus big site-wide sales, average of 4 days per sale. And with more SKUs, again, you can run more sales. Generally, what we see works best is in an average month, if you're sending 20 emails, 16 are value-based, 4 are promotion-based. And that's going to be 1 sale. So four promo emails within 1 sale within the month, that's where we start out with. A lot of questions that I get are related about providing value. So how can you provide value? A lot of brands say, oh no, like I don't want to spam people. Like I don't know what we could provide value about. Like people just like the sales, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Don't listen to that. What you can provide value about, there's infinite topics of emails that you can provide value about. So I left a couple examples here, a couple notable ones, turning social media content into an email. So if it's a blog post, Instagram, Facebook, whatever, turn that into an email, provide value, make things shareable, make it worth forwarding to a friend. So you can literally turn email almost into an acquisition channel where people are sharing with other people that aren't on the list. Make your emails that good that people want to send them to their friends. Choose a product, highlight the benefits. If someone's bought product X, cross-sell them to product Y. 6 tips for this, 3 things you didn't know about this, our product versus competitor, industry topics and reviews, social media, links, all this stuff you can basically put into your emails. And again, we're not writing paragraphs and paragraphs and paragraphs. We have short, sweet emails. So that's why you could send 20 to 25 emails in a month to your highest engagers. No worries. One example here, providing value and selling at the exact same time. Here's an example from Proven Skincare. Basically, they have 3 steps, 1, 2, 3, where it's telling you how to, make your skin better. However, it's also providing value because, it's 3 different steps and it's telling you about the products, but also it's selling you. Yeah, it has a very clear, it's talking about the seasons and shifting and things like that. And in order to counteract that, you need to buy their products. So it's selling you with the offer and you have to buy the 3 products to implement the value. So basically you have the value. It's telling you how to take care of your skin when the temperatures drop and things like that. And the only solution is to buy their product. So that's why you can literally do both within the exact same email. Now, discount strategy. When you're writing copy, don't use a placeholder for the discount. This can cause a ton of confusion. If the copywriter isn't 100% sure, reach out to the account manager. So deciding the name of the discount, our agency is typically the one creating the discount within Shopify. So you always want to make it just relevant to the promotion, suggest the discount ahead of time. Again, as a service provider or as a freelancer and you're working with a brand, you want to be the one that suggests things. You don't want to put it onto the CMO or the founder of the e-commerce brand that's probably super busy. It's your job to suggest things, and if they want to change things, they can. But again, the onus is on you. Now, using static codes versus dynamic coupon codes, basically, I'm not going to get into all this, but for campaigns, we prefer to apply the discount automatically in the cart. If that's not possible, then use a static code. For flows, we prefer to use static codes that look like they're dynamic. So a static code that looks like this, and if not, use dynamic codes like this. I'm going to leave the reasons why we do this down below here. Basically, we've tried every single combination of discount codes, and this is absolutely what works the best. So feel free to screenshot this if you want to look at the reasoning. Not going to get into all of this right here. I have a tweet here too that you can check out in this Google Doc, which explains why I don't like to use discount codes like welcome 20 within flows. Basically, there's no legitimate urgency or scarcity. A lot of other reasons too. All right. Subject lines and preview text. Basically, 60 characters max for subject lines and 60 characters max for preview text. Generally, that's the average of what's going to always show up no matter which inbox. It really depends on which inbox and what, if you're using mobile or desktop or whatever. Overall, you want to keep them short and crisp. Add some emojis, make them playful. Open loops to really entice the click. So I gave a bunch of examples here. When you're using emojis, obviously use your brain. Don't use a ton of emojis for more corporate type brands, obviously. But if it's a fun, whatever, younger brand, younger audience, totally cool. So I left a bunch of examples of great subject lines, but as you can see, are you missing out on this? Skincare hacks you need to know. This one simple life hack to blah, blah, blah. Like, you want to read that because it seems like it's providing value. It opens a loop. Like, have you tried this product yet? No. You really want to open the email. It really entices the click. Really, make sure you're kind of sprucing these up a little bit, making them short and sweet. Also, for subject lines, we like to use title or sentence case. For preview text, we generally prefer sentence case. This is an example of what each of these look like. And then capitalization, pay attention, make sure it makes sense. Use title or sentence case again. Don't just randomly capitalize things. All right, merge tags and variables. Copy and paste this right here. This is for Klaviyo. Basically, first name, it's going to take the first name. It's going to capitalize it. So it's going to make sure that the first letter within that name is capitalized and everything else is lowercase. And then friend is the default. So make sure always, 110% of the time, have a default. Most common ones that we use are these right here. Hey, there, friend, girl, dude, bro, whatever goes right there. Make the job easier on the Klaviyo tech or whoever is implementing these emails. Use the correct variables as a copywriter so there's no confusion. Now, copywriting is just as visual as design. You're not just writing words on a screen, you're making emails highly skimmable and literally fun to read. So within copywriting, you need to use underlines, bolds, italics, headers and subheaders, bullet points, icons, infographics, and anything else you can think of, because you're literally assuming that people are skimming through your email and they need to understand the differences between all of your copy, just like that. It needs to be quick. So I'm going to illustrate this with an example. Which is easier to read? And which would you prefer to read? Which is more fun to read? Option 1 or option 2? It's pretty obvious, okay? Option 1, way better. And this is where the copywriter really comes in. And they're not just, an average copywriter, they're going to write what's on the right here and they're going to call it a day. Our copywriters, they're going to plan this out. They're going to think of an infographic. They're going to link to something that's similar or looks like this. Doesn't have to be exact. The designer can figure it out, but the copywriter is the one that's taking the initiative and coming up with this idea. And then the designer can change it up and see what actually looks good in real life and put those finishing touches on there. So you want this and not this. This is the exact same words, but this is on the left what we're going for. Social proof. ton of different ways you can use this. Most brands don't do this enough. It's one of the easiest ways to drive more conversions. A lot of things that we like to use include customer reviews, number of 5-star reviews, UGC, before and afters, publications, social media followers, awards and recognition, customer satisfaction rates. Anything that we can get our hands on, we include it. So customer reviews, X number of people love the brand. Bunch of examples here, before and after, featured in. Add more reviews from real people. Make sure, again, to add the name when you can. Really helps a lot to really put a kind of a name to the review. Again, more reviews from celebrities, more reviews from your everyday consumer, featured in, whatever, as much as you possibly can. Urgency, very important. 2 forms that you can use here, quantity and time scarcity. Here's an example on the left of how to do this. Quick pro tip. If your products are about to go out of stock, mention that. Mention that there's legitimate urgency that you're about to go out of stock. Always, talk about what's actually going on, because you might as well use legitimate urgency. Now, wrapping up here, number one mistake that I see from copywriters, even good ones and even the best ones, is not thinking outside the box, not going above and beyond, taking a few risks. I get it. You don't want to step on toes or whatever, but at least experiment and suggest things. Pattern interrupts are great. Couple examples here. I'm not going to go through everything here, but you can kind of pause your screen, pause it, take a look here. Bunch of examples of even within your abandonment flows, which are, you could copy and paste those straight up if you want to, but going above and beyond is what we do at our agency, and we really like to include different elements and charts and different types of copy and things that really just go above and beyond. That's the whole goal. All right, with that being said, here's the thing. You have 2 options. You can basically take all this copywriting knowledge, and if you're running a D2C brand, you can try to do this yourself. You can kind of try and do it with what you have going on currently, or you can talk to us. And if you're doing 6 or 7 figures per month, we'll give you a refund if we're not able to add 50 to 200K to your monthly revenue in the next 90 days. So if you're interested in potentially working together, you have 2 different options here. You can check out zhs-ecom.com and book a call, or you can send an email to myself, zach@zhs-ecom.com for more information. Hope you got a ton of value out of this video, and have an awesome rest of your day.